They are also two of the rarest.
We are in a race to save giant pandas.
There's less than 2,000 that exist today.
We really want a cub here at the zoo.
For 5 years, a small team of specialists at the Smithsonian National Zoo has worked to increase the total number of pandas by 1.
Good job.
Breeding giant pandas is probably the hardest thing in the world to do.
Pandas have one chance, once a year, of getting pregnant.
Only our cameras had access to this extraordinary odyssey. It's taken a monumental effort to get here, but the rewards are undeniable.
This little panda is just the cutest creature on Earth.
Early morning at the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington, D.C. The Panda House has been closed to visitors for weeks. Inside, the staff is preparing to conduct a physical exam on the zoo's newest resident.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Look at that little boy.
He's not so little anymore.
Even his heart's adorable.
2 months old, this young cub's eyes have just opened, and he's getting his first look at the human team that has spent 5 years working for his arrival.
Oh, look at him pushing up. What a strong boy we have.
With less than 2,000 pandas left in the world, every new birth is a cause for hope.
I am thrilled that we have a cub now. It's been something that I've waited for a long time. And it's something to see this little cub grow.
This cub is one of only 2 pandas born outside of China this year. And his arrival is a giant accomplishment for the staff at the National Zoo.
Very good.
But to truly appreciate how they got here, you have to rewind the clock more than 30 years. Their names were Ling Ling and Xing Xing, Washington's most endearing political ambassadors. The Cold War had frozen relations between the U.S. and China for 2 decades. But in 1972, President Richard Nixon helped to break the ice by visiting China, and the Chinese reciprocated by sending 2 representatives of their own. They were the first pandas in the U.S. in over 20 years.
Do you think we're going to have a panda family?
Well, that's the hope of everyone in the United States.
Hopes for a panda cub were running high. At the time, it was thought there were only 1,000 pandas left in the world. During their years at the zoo, Ling Ling and Xing Xing were beloved by the public, but they left a sad legacy. None of their 5 cubs lived more than a few days. Ling Ling died childless in 1992. When Xing Xing passed away 7 years later, the Panda House was closed down.
It was very difficult for those of us who worked with those pandas when they died and were both gone. To have no pandas was very hard.
In 2000, the National Zoo got a second chance when China agreed to loan the United States another pair of pandas.
In November of 2000, we went to the Research Center for the Giant Panda in Wolong, China, to bring Mei Xiang and Tian Tian home. And it was quite apparent from the very beginning we had 2 little charmers on our hands.
She usually starts her climb here on this door. My first impression of Mei Xiang was that she was a very beautiful animal, but also that she has a little bit more of an independent streak.
Make a move on you, dear.
Yeah, I know. I see you, my dear.
She says the hat looks good. She was just so little. I had never seen a panda that age, and she was only 2, and she just was the cutest thing I'd ever seen. Knowing that we're going to take these 2 home, and we're going to get to know these 2 individuals is really special.
When they arrived in the nation's capital, Tian Tian and Mei Xiang became instant celebrities. And they quickly adapted to their spacious new home.
Tian Tian's name means more and more, and we joke that it means more and more food, or more and more attention, because he's very much the attention hog and the food hog. Mei Xiang means beautiful fragrance. She's just very beautiful and perfect, so the name fits her.
Behind the scenes, the staff adopted a hands-off approach to keep conditions as natural as possible for the pandas.
We're working on open mouth. No. You're being a goof. Good.
But enlisting the pandas' help with medical procedures is essential.
We train our pandas so that we can do medical management without having to use anesthesia. So the pandas have been trained to put their foreleg through a hole in the training cage, and they hold onto a bar and allow us to draw blood.
And Tien loves to get his blood taken. He loves to stick his arm in the sleeve. He doesn't notice that he's getting his blood drawn. He just knows that he's getting fed, and he's happy with that.
You were so good, huh?
Training Tian Tian and Mei Xiong to be active participants in their own health care will hopefully bolster their chances of producing a vital cub. Yet when it comes to panda reproduction, there is much that remains a mystery.
We still know very little about giant pandas, first because it's a very hard animal to study in the wild. They live alone and they're very secretive. We've also had very few giant pandas in zoos around the world to study.
It's spring 2003. After 2 years of growth and training, Tian Tian is turning 6.
He's gonna flop.
And Mei Xiong is almost 5, the earliest age a female panda has been known to give birth. The staff is hopeful the pandas are ready to mate. But they also know that to succeed, Mei Xiong and Tian Tian will have to overcome a difficult set of hurdles.
Pandas have a very short reproductive cycle. The female comes into estrus or into heat for just basically a number of hours that spans 1 or 2 days in a whole year. So you have one chance, once a year, of getting pregnant.
During the peak breeding period, there are certain vocalizations that increase dramatically. Both the male and the female bleat. In addition, Mei Xiong will chirp. And it's just this very sharp, high-pitched sound that also is an indication that she's ready for breeding.
As mating season starts, Tian Tian is allowed 24-hour access to Mei Xiong. To make sure no important behavior is missed, the Panda House is armed with 23 surveillance cameras that cover every inch of the exhibit areas. Volunteers from a pool of 75 take turns working 3-hour shifts to keep around-the-clock watch. But the early signs are not promising.
Since about 5 this morning, Tian Tian's been trying. He's making great effort, but she's just not maintaining an appropriate position for breeding.
People say, oh gosh, how hard could it be? If you are in the throes of this really intense hormonal thing and you only have a few hours really to practice, maybe you don't get it right.
Just when successful mating seems a lost cause for the year, there's a hopeful sign.
Listen to his bleat.
I agree with you that vocalization is significant. Whether it was long enough.
No one is sure if the pandas have successfully mated, but it looks like the window of opportunity is closing.
Right now, it appears that Tien is no longer interested in her, which may indicate that her hormone levels have gone down. She's sort of following him around, but he doesn't seem to be interested. She's going to go visit him, see what he wants to do. She's backing into him with her tail raised. Just another sign that she's interested in him, and he's clearly not interested in her. He'd rather eat.
We're pretty confident that there was a breeding, but it was only 15 seconds. We're excited about it. At the same time, we can't be overly confident about pregnancy resulting because the encounter was very brief, but it could have done the job.
It's a waiting game now. Because of the panda's unusual gestation period, it will be 3 to 6 months before anyone knows for sure if Mei Xiong is actually carrying a cub.
It's very difficult to diagnose pregnancy in giant pandas. If females do not get pregnant, they almost always go through what's called a pseudo-pregnancy or a false pregnancy. And in giant pandas, the false pregnancy resembles a real pregnancy very closely. The hormones change in the same way, the behavior changes in the same way. So that's why it's hard to tell if they really are pregnant.
There you are. I'm opening the door. Can you come up on the scale real quick so I can get a weight on you?
And when you send us the paper?
6 weeks after Mei Xiang and Tian Tian's 2-day courtship, the zoo's veterinary staff attempts to get some answers using an ultrasound.
None of us are overly convinced she is pregnant, but there are some signs that she's showing where the hormones are changing to look like she might be pregnant. We're thinking, well, she could be, so let's see if we can figure it out using the ultrasound.
Lots of jobs.
Gotta keep our panda happy.
Mei Xiang just loves doing ultrasounds. She really enjoys the whole process of lying there, being fed pears, and having the ultrasound gel go all over so that later she can play with it.
What a good girl. I think the spleen's up top there.
Though the procedure goes well, the ultrasound images don't answer the question of whether Mei Xiang is actually pregnant. Now the staff can only wait and wonder, is Mei Xiang with cub?
If I had to put my money on a baby or no baby, I would probably say no baby, but you just never know. The bottom line is Mei Xiang's going to surprise us one way or another. It's kind of like not knowing the sex of your baby. We not only don't know the sex of the baby, we don't know if there's actually a baby.
Coming up, an expedition to China for insights into the unsolved mysteries of panda breeding and the amazing never-before televised moment of a panda birth at the National Zoo.
A Panda Is Born is brought to you.
This is her favorite behavior now.
It's the end of the first mating season for the National Zoo's giant pandas.
Good job. You are so brilliant.
For the last 30 days, Mei Xiang has been isolated from her mate, Tian Tian, while the staff waits to see if she's carrying a cub. But after a long lethargic spell, Mei Xiang is suddenly playful again.
She is not pregnant. Her hormone levels are back to normal, and they have been for a few days now, so we're pretty confident at this point there is no babies. Today we're going to do an intro with the pandas, put them back together. It's been about a month since they've been together.
For their keepers, the sight of playful pandas helps soothe the disappointment of not having a cub.
I get PPED, which is post-panda estrus depression. And it's just very hard to wait another year.
Around the zoo, other endangered species have had more success breeding. In the elephant house, Mother Shanti is taking a breather after giving birth to her 325-pound baby, Kandala. Over in the Great Cats exhibit, Sumatran tiger Soyono has her paws full with 3 very curious male cubs. At the Panda House, it's still just a family of 2. But as another mating season approaches, hopes are high that this year, these older, more experienced pandas will produce a cub. So the keepers are bewildered when the 2 pandas appear to be out of sync.
We didn't have any mating. There were lots of attempts, but nothing that actually came close even to the previous years. They just kind of couldn't figure it out.
I'm very disappointed. Last year we got 15 seconds, and this year we got nothing. It's time for us to have a viable, healthy cub.
Mei Xiang,
Would you like a fruiticle? Hi. Oh, no.
hopefully next year there will be a cub. We'll have a baby instead of a fruiticle.
The goal of producing a cub for Mei Xiang and Tian Tian is more than a personal project for the National Zoo staff. To help giant pandas survive, the dream is to return cubs born in captivity to the wild.
You want wild pandas to be wild, but if we don't know about them, then we can't protect them.
Dr. Lucy Spellman and reproductive specialist Dr. Jo Gale Howard are heading off on a research expedition to China, the panda's home turf. This trip is part of an ongoing partnership between China and the United States, designed to bolster the worldwide population of pandas. And on this visit, the Americans hope to find out how China's more hands-on approach to panda management might provide insight into ways to encourage Mei Xiong and Tian Tian to breed. Giant pandas live in the wild in only a few isolated forests in the Chinese mountains. With their habitat threatened by logging and other development, the number of wild pandas has dwindled to just 1,600. But there's hope here.
Breeding giant pandas is probably the hardest thing in the world to do, and the Chinese do it very well.
7 cubs were born in one single year at the research center in Wolong, Mei Xiong and Tian Tian's former home. The Chinese have fostered a high panda reproduction rate with a two-pronged approach. During breeding season, their female pandas are all artificially inseminated, as well as given an opportunity to mate naturally under tightly controlled conditions.
I'm anticipating your recommendation, which it would be that we leave him separate and put him in when she's ready. Is that right?
Because he wastes so much energy and so interested about his hair. Yes.
From talking with the experts here and others in China, the team back in the U.S. may need to purposefully separate the two just before the breeding time and see if that encourages the breeding at the right time.
Back in Washington, it's already 2005, and a new year brings plenty of fresh faces to the zoo. At the Panda House, the snow is still melting, but Mei Xiong's behavior signals that for her, spring and another mating season is underway.
We're ready. We're scrambling a little, but we're ready.
This year, the pandas will be allowed into the same enclosure only when Mei Xiong is ovulating. Until then, they are separated by a mesh fence.
She feels the need to climb. Are you going to go up? Yes, of course.
It'll be interesting to see what happens this year. It's this really short window of time you have to practice, so to speak, and to get your positioning just right. So, we'll see. I'm hopeful.
Here we go. We're backwards walking, yep.
She says, come on.
Ken, you're going to have to wait. It looks like she's at day 0, huh? Just beginning to back up and raise her tail.
Lisa decides the time has come to put the pandas together for a short interval. If the pandas fail to mate, the plan is to do an artificial insemination. Judging from past experience, it's possible Mei Xiong's window of mating opportunity may be less than 2 days. And as the hours tick away, the panda's performance does not improve.
There was not a natural mating last night. We saw some excellent behavior and really correct alignment. Each year you try something and you learn from it and you move on.
The staff gathers at 6 a.m. to start the artificial insemination procedure.
If we can't do it in a reasonable amount of time, we're going to just put oxygen on.
Both pandas will be anesthetized. This will allow the staff to collect fresh semen from Tian Tian and quickly deposit it in Mei Xiong's birth canal.
We're going to be anesthetizing Tian Tian shortly. We're going to bring him into the training cage and going to hopefully successfully hand inject him.
Anesthesia is always a risk, but we decided that it would be higher chance of getting a pregnancy by artificial insemination with using fresh sperm. Okay, we're starting low to see how he responds.
Looks great. Looks great. Good motility, good status.
With Tian Tian's role completed, he's carried back to his den to awaken. Next, it's Mei Xiong's turn on the table.
All right, that should just be cervix.
Wow. Perfect, perfect.
Okay, now we're inseminating. Looks great. Okay, we're done. I love it. I love it. The procedure went great. I'd say it's about 50% chance that we could get a successful pregnancy out of this.
Now it's up to Mei Xiong and the mysteries of panda reproduction.
The earliest that we would have a cub would be 3 months from today. The latest would be about 6 months from now. And we still have to watch and wait. We're ready. We're absolutely ready.
coming up. One very moody panda and a miraculous surprise.
We're both like, whoa!
A Panda Is Born is brought to you in...
Day after Mei Xiang has been artificially inseminated. And she has just been reunited with her mate, Tian Tian.
Hear that moaning from him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Means go away, I don't really want to be bothered with you.
Mating season is over for the pandas this year. For the staff, the long period of observing Mei Xiang for signs of pregnancy begins now. While they wait and watch, they stay busy with their regular duties, including stocking the panda house with fresh bamboo.
Bamboo isn't a very nutritious food, so they have to eat a lot of it to get adequate amounts of nutrients that they need.
Tian Tian can put away 40 pounds of bamboo a day. But Mei Xiang begins to lose her appetite. Over the next few weeks, her actions point to a possible pregnancy.
Mei Xiang's doing a bit of nest building right now. She's been spending a lot of time cradling a Kong toy that we've given her. She's really not very interested in us anymore. She's very inward and very focused on herself.
Mei Xiang's keepers can't be sure what her moody behavior means.
Mei Xiang, are you coming? Come on. Mei Xiang, come on.
Mei Xiang, we could do an ultrasound with some gel. I've resorted to the gel trick. She loves the gel.
Good job. Ready? Here we go. So we have bladder here, and this is where the uterine horn should be. And now we have this area with a soft tissue mass in the center of it, and that's what we have not seen before.
Mei Xiang's ultrasound image shows something's changed, but it's unclear exactly what.
Unfortunately, we didn't get good views again. She's bringing that leg down. It's kind of acting like, you know, don't push on my belly. Let's face it, she's more moody this year. Every time I see her, I'm a little more convinced.
The jury is out on what our chances are for a cub this year. We're all very hopeful, but we're not going to really know for certain until a cub is either born or it's not.
A few days after the ultrasound, Mei Xiang suddenly regains her appetite.
She had hardly been eating anything prior to yesterday. Not moving, not eating, but clearly she wanted some bamboo. So what does that mean? Could mean she's pregnant this time, could mean she's not pregnant, could mean she's just having a good old time with us, and this is a good thing to throw out there to confuse people.
While Mei Xiang keeps to herself, Tian Tian is spending his summer days hanging out in his air-conditioned grotto.
Tian Tian's his usual self. He goes about his day looking for more food and more attention from us. He's oblivious to all these things. His life as a male is so much simpler than Mei Xiang.
Mei Xiang, come on.
As the days go by in the panda house, Mei Xiang becomes unwilling to allow any more ultrasounds, even for her beloved gel. But the staff can't take any chances. If there's even a remote possibility that Mei Xiang is carrying a cub, they will need to offer her every advantage to ensure its survival. So when the panda keepers leave for the night, a volunteer stays to man the observation booth. Even though Mei Xiang's hormone levels suggest that if she is pregnant, she's still days away from delivering. But in the early hours of July 9th, Mei Xiang is disturbed and unable to sleep. Alarmed by the change in Mei Xiang's behavior, volunteer Susan Hughes notifies Lisa at home.
I just came on shift, and I've got to tell you that Mei Xiang is panting. She's very restless. She's been AG licking.
The volunteer, Susan, she was very excited. Mei Xiang was really restless in her den. She was vocalizing, Susan thought she was seeing some contractions at that point. I was a bit perplexed by this because her hormone levels were still rather high for her to be in labor. At that point, I realized I'd better call Brenda in. Brenda lives the closest to the zoo it could get in the quickest.
Well, Lisa called me at 2 and said that Meishang was behaving differently.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, sorry to get you up. I felt I needed to call. She's been panting since about 11:30.
Science of it is, what we've been told is that her hormones haven't dropped to baseline, therefore she could not be in labor. But it sure looks like she's in labor. I've never seen her do any of these behaviors before. Meishang is lying on her back with a leg propped up on the wall. Then all of a sudden, out shoots the baby. It comes out really fast, faster than you would ever imagine a baby to come out. And as soon as it was out and in this world, it started squealing. Is that it? There it is. Meishang sat up very quickly and was like, what is that? She clearly knows she needs to pick the baby up. And it is flailing its head back and forth. She'll open her mouth and reach for it, but then it'll squeal and it surprises her, so she sits back and she reaches for it again. It squeals and she sits back because she's never seen this before, just like I've never seen this before, and we're both like, whoa.
The incredible has happened. Meishang has given birth when no one really expected it. In an instant, life has changed at the Panda House. Word of the cub spreads quickly. Meishang's most devoted fans gather to lay eyes on the new arrival.
I'm ecstatic. We actually have a panda cub.
For Lisa and the keepers, the cub is an answered prayer.
We're very happy, and it's a little scary too because this little cub's only 4 ounces, the size of your hand. It's so delicate. You just hope she does a great job and keeps the thing alive and everything goes fine. Because we certainly have had the other scenario far too often here, and so, there's a little bit of fear.
At the actual moment of birth, the cub appeared to hit the wall. But even with no apparent protection, it's unlikely the newborn was injured.
At that point, their bodies are made mostly of cartilage, so there's nothing really there to break. Maybe it's something that a newborn cub needs to start squawking and breathing. Sort of like a baby giraffe who's born and falls 6 feet and hits the floor. That's developmentally something that a cub needs to enter the world with a big bang like that and start squawking and get mom's attention. It certainly worked.
Panda cubs are born blind, hairless, and about the size of a stick of butter. This baby is 100% dependent on Meishang, so the staff keeps watch round the clock for signs of strong maternal instincts.
I worry because other cubs with Ling Ling didn't live. And so that's always a worry, will the cub make it? Will it not make it?
Up next, he's big, bad, and back in theaters. Get the real story behind King Kong. Then, travel into the jungles to find the real-life inspiration for the world's favorite great ape. Later, meet Tai Shan, Washington's new baby panda. It's all right here on Animal Planet.
It's been just a few hours since the arrival of Meishang and Tiantian's very small but vocal cub. And the magnitude of the event is just beginning to sink in.
I just want to... Can I skip?
Congratulations.
It's a great morning. We had a panda cub born this morning at 3:41 a.m. Meishang and her cubs seem to be doing great.
Meishang is the poster child for a wonderful mom. Like most new moms, as soon as the baby's quiet, she tries to sneak in a nap and lay down a little bit, and as soon as the baby squawks, she sits right back up, so she's prioritizing the baby over her own desire to catch a couple of winks.
We always hold our breath a little bit when we're dealing with a first-time mother. So right now, we're just going to take each day as it comes, and as each day goes by, we'll be able to breathe a little easier.
Meishang seems to be amazingly calm as she tends to her vocal youngster. A loud cub means a healthy panda, But with the sad history of the last 30 years, and Ling Ling's 5 cubs all dying shortly after birth, the zoo staff anxiously keeps watch.
We've adopted a hands-off approach in dealing with this cub because we believe that infants are best raised by their own mothers. That being said, we're still watching things very closely and observing Mei Xiang and the infant 24 hours a day, so that if something does start to go wrong, we can intervene.
We haven't seen any nursing because the way she holds the baby, you can't really see it half the time. But it sounds like it has been suckling. It's making rooting noises, so we're thinking that the baby has nursed.
This is a model of what our baby panda looks like. Baby panda was born at 3:41 a.m. yesterday morning. It's a day old. We don't know whether it's a boy or a girl.
The cub will not be on view to the public for months, but Daddy Tian Tian casually takes the crowds in stride.
Tian's actually doing really, really well. I think he can hear the baby, but I don't know that it means anything to him. You know, he doesn't have that hormonal drive that, oh, it's a baby, I need to take care of it. Pandas are solitary creatures. The male pandas don't play any role in raising cubs.
The staff is eager to verify the cub's health and find out if the infant's a boy or a girl, but they won't chance upsetting Mei Xiang. Instead, they follow her lead and wait until Mei Xiang feels comfortable enough to leave the den to eat before they attempt to go and pick up her baby.
It would have been much more reassuring to have seen the cub by now, but we just have to wait. We have to be patient. We have to make sure it's the right time for Mei Xiang.
In the wild, panda mothers can go as long as a month after giving birth before eating. But on the cub's 5th day, Mei Xiang takes advantage of nap time and leaves the den to get a quick drink of water. It's a promising development.
Our next goal is to be able to close the door between Mei Xiang and her cub and get in there and do an examination.
While the staff waits for an opportunity to examine the new resident, the cub's every move is captured by the Panda House cameras and displayed to the world over the internet. Emails let the staff know how the cub is affecting people across the globe.
This is a special one. It says, I would like to let you know what a bright spot the Panda Cam has provided for a small group of us in Iraq. We are all so crazy in love with Mei, her cub, and Tian. What a wonderful job you are doing, and what a difference you are making. Thank you so much, and may God bless you all. Kindest regards. It's just wonderful to get that kind of a letter.
On the cub's 25th day, Mei Xiang steps out of the den for a bite to eat, and the staff attempts to perform the first exam. Laurie is the keeper on duty.
I went in there and the cub was just sleeping on his little nest, and I picked him up. We got the first weight, which was 1.8 pounds. Turned the cub over and decided that he was a boy. During the exam, when we were checking his mouth and looking at him, he made a little noise. Mei Xiang immediately heard that. She was all of a sudden looking for her cub, and she went over to the window and tried to look in the den, and she wasn't sure where he was, so she was, getting a little antsy. We hurried up and brought the cub back in.
Okay, Mama, we got your baby. It's all right.
It's okay, Mei Xiang. It's okay.
It's okay. I got it.
Now that they know the cub's a boy, he can be named. The Chinese traditionally name pandas on their 100th day. And in this case, the public will help by voting for one of 5 choices posted on the web. But to reach the 100-day mark, this young cub still has a few more hurdles to cross.
We're hoping that in the next month we'll see the eyes open. That is just going to be terrific to see its little eyes open and also see it begin to take in its world.
Coming up, a young cub meets his keepers.
You did a good job. Yeah.
A Panda is Born is brought to you in part by HP.
Panda House. The staffers are standing by for an opportunity to do the next of what they hope will be weekly exams on Mei Xiang's cub. To entice Mom to leave her infant, they've prepared a bamboo breakfast in the exhibit area just outside her den.
Mei Xiang's been leaving the cub consistently in the morning to get something to eat, so we're really hoping that this morning she'll follow her pattern, she'll put the cub down and leave. Once she's settled, we're going to be ready to move in and pick up the cub and do an exam.
An opportunity presents itself, and the keepers move quickly.
Oh, goodness gracious.
5 3/4.
The tail's getting shorter, I think. This tail's getting shorter. 2 inches.
Now 5 weeks old, his eyes have yet to open. For many of the staff, the exam is a first chance to experience the cub up close.
Look how he can push up.
Yeah, he's pushing up really nicely.
He's standing.
His first words.
All babies are cute, but panda babies that you've seen since the moment they were born, it's an amazing experience just to be close to him.
Good, Mei Xiang's doing great.
You know what I'd like to do, since he's still pretty quiet and she's okay, is measure his feet.
Mei Xiang stayed calm. She listened when the door was closed, and, she clearly thought about, do I need to be worried? And then she went back to eating. It was great. It went perfectly.
The procedure is over in 14 minutes. When Mei Xiang returns, she snips the den, then promptly picks up her cub and gives him a thorough grooming.
You look at that cub and Mei Xiang together and you think nothing else in the world could be cuter than them. They're so beautiful together.
What amazes me about this cub is that every single day he looks different.
Oh, look at the thing! You feel like if you close your eyes some days, count to 10 and open your eyes, he's bigger. I mean, he's just growing and growing.
While mother and cub spend their days in the den, Daddy Tian Tian is enjoying the summer sun on his own. Tian Tian has been by himself for 6 months, ever since the end of the breeding season. To keep him engaged, the staff provides regular enrichment activities, like having him search for objects in the yard, including his favorite, apple juice-flavored popsicles. Tian Tian and Mei Xiang have been kept apart so that she's not distracted from her maternal duties. But as she becomes more confident in leaving the cub, the staff gradually provides opportunities for the two parents to meet up.
Yesterday, Mei Xiang and Tian Tian had the opportunity to interact through the mesh, and that was very nice. It was very calm. It was very much like their interactions in the past. They sort of sniffed each other and played gently through the mesh, and then at some point he decided, time to go look for food, and he walked away.
But I just like...
On his 47th day, the cub passes a very important milestone. His eyes are open.
9 and an 8.
And at his next exam, the cub gets his first look at the world outside his den. Today, he'll receive his first vaccines, and the staff is hoping it goes off without a hitch.
I don't think it will be too hard on the cub to receive this vaccine. He's so cute and cuddly that I think it's going to be harder on me to actually have to stick him than it will be on him. Ready?
He's looking right at me.
Good boy, good boy, good boy.
Yes, you are. You did a good job.
That was so brave.
Yeah.
Vaccination was no problem.
He looks like a big boy panda now, with his eyes open. He's really starting to look like a panda.
Everybody wants to cuddle him. He's just too cute. And you just want to pick him up and give him kisses, but you can't. Gotta clean everything.
It appears Mei Xiang is going to have her hands full with this increasingly active baby.
He's pushing out, he's doing that head bobbing thing, so he's starting to walk, and this is the beginning of the end.
Every parent's nightmare. Mei-Shang just doesn't know it yet.
We're going to get busier.
Yeah.
Coming up, the cub gets ready to meet the world.
See the whole story of...
It's a busy morning at the Panda House. Mei-Shang's cub is now 12 weeks old. His public debut is only 2 months away, and the National Zoo staff is hard at work preparing him for his big day.
Today we're just doing a regular routine checkup. It's amazing to think that checkups are routine now.
Is that the sweetest face you've ever seen?
It's very fuzzy.
Oh, his molars are coming in.
He's also starting to get this pink color to his hair. That's a result of a chemical reaction from Mei-Shang's saliva. And as she starts to groom him less, as he gets older, that pink color will disappear.
Ooh. Pink hair or not, it's almost time to allow the public in to see the cub.
Get louder.
So far, Mei-Shang has kept the boy confined to the den, but for visitors to see him, his mother will need to be comfortable with him out in the exhibit space.
This morning we decided to try putting the cub out in the showcase, which is an area where the public could see him. When Mei-Shang came inside, she came over and she looked at him and said, okay, don't belong out here, come on. When she picks him up and manipulates him, he just pretty much goes limp. And so whatever she does is fine.
It's the cub's 100th day, and it's time to make him official. He's an ambassador for his native China, as well as his highly endangered species.
Today is a very special day for us here. We're here to celebrate the naming of our giant panda. It is Chinese tradition to name a panda cub on the 100th day. Over 202,000 people voted. And now to announce the cub's name, a drum roll, please. Hi, Sean.
Taisha stands for strength, peace, and greatness. This is an important day for Washington, D.C. and the United States and China. So on behalf of the Chinese Embassy, I wish to take this opportunity to express our appreciation and thanks to the scientists, to the curators and keepers for their care and dedication.
I think people all over the country and all over the world are watching, this baby grow. I think whenever anything is born, it's a symbol of hope.
The birth of this panda cub is a huge accomplishment for the zoo. For us, it really symbolizes and embodies all that we've been working towards. It really took a village to get this cub, and it's a village that I'm very proud to be a member of. So for us, this has just been an ultimate gift.
The journey has been long. It's still a bit unreal. It's taken us over 30 years to get here, and we're enjoying every moment of it.